Hey, what's up guys? Good afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you're watching this video out in the world today. As you guys know, I already put the AEW review up earlier this morning, Eastern Standard Time here in the United States. So that video's been out for a few hours. After this one, click on one of the boxes to my left or right, and that'll take you right to the AEW review. But this review is for NXT. In the show that they put on the USA Network last night for January 8th, 2020. You could tell this was a return show for Triple H and company. You could tell they were still trying to shake off the holiday cobwebs. They were in transition mode, right? Trying to forget and adjust from holiday mode and get back into the swing of things. Because we've seen much better from NXT in the past, we know they're capable of much better in the future. Last night wasn't bad by any stretch, but it wasn't good by any means either. It was right down the middle. I would give it a decent grade. But let's talk about it right from the jump. Because I know, and you know, this is a double video upload day, and I know you probably have this thing called a life, so you can't spend the entire day with the Amplified Man. What do you mean? You don't want to hear a 9-hour video? Actually, I'm sure some of you probably wouldn't mind that. But I know you guys have things to do, so I'm going to try to go over this NXT review as fast as possible. But I also want to be as accurate, factual, and just dissect every segment as only I can do. So I'm going to try to bundle everything together. And again, try to be as fast as possible, but try to be as accurate too. Hopefully you guys understand. I'm incapable of producing a half-assed product. So I'll try to keep this as short as possible. We start off with the women's champion, Rhea Ripley. She's in the middle of the ring. She's got a mic. But Toni Storm ends up coming down and interrupting Rhea Ripley. That's right. Toni Storm, let me tell you guys, we already know Alexa Bliss is packing backside. But when you see Toni Storm, and we already knew this, but when you see Toni Storm in the ring, it's like she would call over Alexa Bliss and say, "That's cute, kid, hold my beer." And then you just watch Toni Storm. Because when you talk packing backside, Toni Storm is legit. Wow, I just had to throw that in there, man. It's amazing what she is packing. Anyway, she interrupts and she lays down a challenge to Rhea Ripley. Now this brings in Kylie Rae, and then Io Shirai, then Bianca Belair, then Candice LeRae. At this point, I'm counting 6 individuals in there, 6 females, so you know it is just a matter of time before it's made official. Holla, 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 playa, a Teddy Long 6-man tag match. In this case, 6 women tag match. And sure enough, William Regal makes it official. We have a 6-women tag match when we come back from break. Listen, I like the individuals in this match. Every single one of these ladies brings a different dynamic into that ring. I like their personas. So on that front and in that aspect, I'm okay with it. However, you guys know how I feel about 6-man tag matches. There is way too many of them in the pro wrestling world today. Why is it a prerequisite that every single show has to have at least one 6-man tag match? Why? There's no care behind them because everybody knows it leads to nothing. Everybody knows that a 6-man tag match is nonsensical. Shit, if you want to be truthful, guys, tag team matches are nonsensical these days. Right? Tag team divisions are absolutely worthless. NXT is trying to do more with them. AEW is trying to do more with them, but it's still in shambles. It's not being done accurately. And forget about Raw and SmackDown, that's just a lost cause. So if the tag team divisions are in shambles, what makes you think anybody truly needs to see or even wants to see a 6-man tag? Because again, nobody has any care or investment into it. That's my problem with it. Anyway, that's my little hang-up. I had to put that out there, man. Every single show, no matter which company, no matter which brand, always has to have at least one 6-man on it. It's redundant. It is boring at this point. Even if it's a good match, that's fine. I can see good wrestling down at the local bingo hall. Anyway, when we come back from break, sure enough, it's Candice, Toni, and Rhea versus Bianca, Io, and Kylie. Guys, again, you know what? I'm not even gonna harp on it. It was a good match, all right? You got what you wanted. We got a good match with these 6 individuals. Again, there was no care behind it from the Amplified, man. I didn't care how this was gonna end. I didn't care what it was gonna lead to. It was just a schmaz at that point. Break it down, will you? If you wanna progress a storyline, break it down one-on-one. Let's just build a story with those focal points. The end of this thing saw, how did it end? Io Shirai was up at the top rope. She actually does a drop kick to her own teammate, Bianca Belair. This sets up a riptide for Rhea Ripley, and Rhea defeats Bianca. So in all, Candice, Toni, and Rhea end up winning this match. But again, it was via riptide. Rhea Ripley defeated Bianca Belair, and that was only because Io Shirai took out Bianca. So Io is showing that, listen, even though we're on a team for tonight, there's no allegiance. All right, we needed over a hat. This thing went almost 40 minutes by the time each one of them touched a microphone, to the time where the 6-man tag was announced, to the time where it was all said and done. 40 minutes of that show for what? What did it lead to? Animosity between the females? No more animosity than we already knew going into that match. There was no more coming out of it. Yes, I'm happy we got to see Io. There is reports that Io is unhappy in WWE on that NXT brand. Guys, I have done a lot of research. This was a Dave Meltzer report. Upon my research, I'm not seeing any validity to that. And I have, usually when Meltzer says something, I have a few different sources that I can go to kind of back that up. Or at least in the realm, the same ballpark of what Meltzer is reporting. Guys, I have no source that can confirm that. So I don't know where Meltzer is pulling that out of, other than his backside. Because I'm not hearing anything that Io is upset. Same thing with the Kairi Sane being upset. No, what we're hearing is that there is entities over in Japan that want both Kairi and Io back over there, and they're willing to pay big money. That's the report that we can confirm. They want Kairi and Io back in Japan, and they're willing to pay big money. But there's no valid report or nothing of substance that is shown to anybody that says that Kairi and Io are unhappy. Now, yes, we can come to our own conclusions and say we wouldn't blame them if they were. I mean, shoot, half the roster is unhappy over there. Not so much NXT, but main roster with Kairi. But there's no validity, guys. There's no actual proof that they're unhappy. In fact, Io has been treated pretty damn good in NXT. However, I think we're getting those mixed reports. People are getting confused that Japan wants them back for big money, and we're hearing that they're actually contemplating it, so that must mean they're unhappy. That's not true, man. And again, Io Shirai, they've always given her the world, just not a championship yet. And is she deserving of it? Probably. But I see big things for Io Shirai if she stays. If she goes over to Japan, obviously, big things await her there too. That's her decision, but she's always used, at least, and always in a decent way at worst, which was last night. That's the worst position they put Io in, a 6-woman tag match. So all in all, beggars can't be choosers. We're getting Io. She's usually in good spots. I do hope for better for her even, and hopefully we get that. Hopefully she does resign. I like seeing her in that NXT brand. I have my doubts and fears if she ever goes to the main roster, because Vince McMahon just doesn't like to use anybody that isn't a blonde, ponytailed, big-boobed female. That's the truth, guys. You know? And it pains me to say that, but, you know, you look over on that main roster and you see that Sasha Banks has never really been given the time of day. Even with a couple of short title reigns, Naomi has never been given the time of day. Asuka... This was a reactionary move when Rio won, that she even has an NXT, or I'm sorry, a WWE Tag Team Championship. Again, that's only because AEW put their strap on Rio. 4 days later, when being off of TV most of the year, Asuka all of a sudden wins a Tag Team Championship with Kairi. So again, this shows you how Vince McMahon utilizes his minority talent. It's absolutely mind-boggling, it's upsetting, and it's frustrating. Anyway, I know I went on a whole nother fucking little side rant there, guys, but I just don't see how this benefits any one of these females, just throwing them into a 6-woman tag match. It's the same thing with the dudes when they throw them in the six-man tag matches. Nobody cares about them, and it leads to nothing. But it's a good match! Wow, yay. Again, I can get that at the local bingo hall. I expect more from these brands and on these shows. Up next, Imperium. They defeat the Forgotten Sons in the first round of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Tournament. This was needed for Imperium because we saw just 2 months ago they were pushing Imperium a little bit. It didn't quite click with the crowd and the audience, so they pulled them back. And now we see that they're going to give them one more run. I like this because it's now or never. It's sink or swim. If Imperium, and I'm not talking Walter, I'm talking other members, if they're going to make it in this company, NXT or the main roster, we have to see it now. They gave him a little bit of a push before, don't forget, and it didn't work, so they pulled him back a little bit, or a lot of it. Now they beat the Forgotten Sons. Now's the time. We're going to find out within the next month or 2 months if Imperium is something special or if they are duds. The time for talk is over. As far as the Forgotten Sons losing this match, no harm, no foul, right? They're no more forgotten now than they were going into the match. The Forgotten Sons are truly forgotten. It's going to take more of a push for them than just beating Imperium. So I like the way that this turned out. Imperium winning the round 1 match in the Dusty Rhodes Classic, I believe is the way to go. Up next, Austin Theory pins Joaquin Wilde. And he won via a version of the TKO. This match was roughly only 5 minutes, and I like that because it was just a mini showcase for Austin Theory and Joaquin Wilde. That's all this was supposed to be because they're not really known to the NXT casual fan. So a lot of those will start pressing the remote control to the last channel, right? They'll click off. So you don't want to give them too much TV time on their matches yet, even though Austin Theory is more than capable of holding a 15-20 minute match. No problem. But I feel 5 minutes because, again, you're just coming back from vacay. You have a lot of casual viewers. You kind of want to keep them. 5 minutes was good for this match. And again, Theory picks up the W via the version of the TKO. I like this. No harm, no foul for Joaquin either. This leads us into hour number 2. We kick off with another first round match in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Classic. Say that 10 times fucking fast. This was Undisputed Era, O'Reilly and Fish taking on NXT UK Tag Champs, Wolfgang and Mark of Gallus. Now, obviously, Undisputed Era took the W here. And I'm good with that because that needs to happen. It's Undisputed Era. I mean, you're really pumping that up as the Dynamite faction, you could say, in all of pro wrestling today. Now, here's what I'm somewhat apprehensive about, however, and that's the UK tag strap holders losing right before the big NXT TakeOver Blackpool event that's coming up this weekend. You know what I mean? You don't want your tag team strap holders to lose a big televised match just nights before a big special event match. And that's what happened with these 2 members of Gallus. So where do you go from here with them? Well, we can't find out until this weekend. Right? Did they lose that match because they got a big victory coming up this weekend? Or is this a little mini losing streak for them? Remains to be seen, but they kind of backed them into a corner, right? They're in a little bit of a pickle. They have this big match coming up this weekend, and they end up losing this televised USA Network match to the Undisputed Era. So for them, it's kind of rough. For Undisputed Era, that was the right decision. You know, it's just WWE, NXT, again, backing themselves into a corner. These are 2 teams that could not afford to lose. So what did they do? They put them in there together. I'm not a fan of doing that. Up next, Johnny Gargano is on the mic, and he tells Finn Balor that it eats Balor up knowing that NXT never needed him to succeed. This pissed off Balor. Finn Balor actually comes down to the ramp, and he tells Gargano that the only thing he's cleared for is promos. Basically saying, watch how you talk because we know you can't back it up right now. The only thing you're cleared for is promos. But he did challenge Gargano to a match at NXT TakeOver Portland. And it looks damn well like that match is going to happen because you know Gargano ain't backing down from any fight/brawl with Finn Balor. And you know that's going to be one of those matches where we put our pens, our notebooks down if you're a reviewer, your typewriters, I'm dating, right? I'm dating way back. Typewriters, laptops, whatever you're writing your shit down on for your review. That's when you're just you're letting it all just go right up here, because you are just going to take in every second of that match and remember as best you can for your review. And if you're just a fan, just enjoying it, just be captivated by it. It's Gargano, it's Finn Balor. There is nothing more that needs to be said, nothing more needs to be sold here. A little bit of storyline to come, okay, I'm okay with, but we don't need too much more. This thing is sitting in your lap. Sometimes with these type of situations, we've seen WWE, and I've even seen it in NXT, where something is sitting in their lap, we actually want to see it. They try too hard. They try to put too much story into it, and it actually just derails the story and ruins it. Gargano, Balor, I'm looking forward to this. Up next is Mia Yim versus Kayden Carter. Kayden keeps improving, but Mia keeps dominating. That's what I have in my notes, and that's the best way I can describe this. Obviously, Mia wins this with a protect your neck, but I like Kayden Carter, man. Even though she's not showcased as one of the actual stars in NXT, she is improving, and I wouldn't be surprised if one day in the future she is. But this is obviously Mia Yim's time. Now, post-match, Chelsea Green takes out both Kayden and Mia. Kind of. That was the illusion anyway. Mia was a little bit misplaced, but Chelsea Green was supposed to hit Kayden. Kayden was supposed to ricochet into Mia, and Mia was supposed to fly on the outside. Instead, we only really saw Chelsea hit Kayden. Kayden brushes Mia, and Mia just flings herself outside. But again, we know the illusion. We know what they were going for. Chelsea Green, middle of the ring, taking everyone out. Up on the ramp is Robert Stone. And he declares that 2020 will be the year of the Robert Stone brand with their first signing, Chelsea Green. So it looks like they're finally giving Chelsea Green a little bit of the rocket there. We talk about AEW's women's roster being really slim. If you look over on the NXT side of things, their women's roster is almost getting like the WWE women's roster, where you have an abundance of talent. And there's going to come a point, I think we've already reached it, where you're not going to have something for a lot of those individuals. That's going to be an issue. But it was good to see Chelsea Green in there at least. Now this leads us into the main event. This was a fatal four-way match for the #1 contender for the North American Championship, held currently by Roddy Strong. Now the four participants in this matchup were Grimes, Dominik Dijakovic, Keith Lee, and Damian Priest. Grimes showed me this, man, if you've seen my review on Grimes in the past, for me to be saying this is something special. But Grimes showed me so much in this match, and he went from NXT jobber to NXT star. Dijakovic in this match, he showed again that with a little more polishing, he is an NXT superstar. Keith Lee, he showed again that this is his time, and it is now, just like I said about Mia Yim. And Damian Priest, he continues to impress by the week. So every single one of these stars went in there last night and did the deed, and they put on a damn good match. Now, when it was all said and done, obviously, Keith Lee ends up winning this thing with a Spirit Bomb over Grimes, and in just 2 weeks, you're going to see Keith Lee go for that North American Championship that is currently held by Roddy Strong. So I'm looking forward to that. It looks like Keith Lee's time seriously is now, and he's going to finally cash in on some gold. We originally thought when we saw the Keith Lee push that he was going to go for the main NXT championship, but we kind of see that's kind of crowded right now, that title picture. So I think him being in the North American title picture right now, no harm, no foul, and it'll only raise his stock. And Roddy, it's his time, man. You know, he can do the deed now. When you look at where Roddy Strong was 2 years ago, and you tell me that he would have held that North American Championship for as long as he already has, you know, that's saying something special. Now they could hold this off and have Keith Lee not win it and wait till Velveteen Dream comes back, but I'm really hoping that Velveteen Dream goes to the main roster. BC, what? They're going to ruin the Dream. Well, of course, anybody that goes to the main roster has a good chance of being ruined. However, I honestly feel that Raw and SmackDown right now need a dose of the Velveteen Dream, at least one of those brands. They need another character like that. Getting Bray Wyatt was huge. We need somebody like Velveteen Dream now. So I don't agree with him coming back just for the North American Championship. So if you're going to drop it, who better than Keith Lee? I ask and I beg that question. Not too shabby, right, guys, time-wise? I tried to go through it as fast as I can. There were little hang-ups that, you know me, I have to get a little amplified on. But all in all, that is the most accurate review that I could give you guys for NXT last night in trying to do it in a manageable amount of time. Was it bad? Absolutely not. Can I say it was good? No. My standards for NXT are way higher than that. And that was just a decent show. Hopefully going forward, again, this was shaking off the holiday cobwebs. Christmas, the holidays, you have New Year's. You shake it off now. It's the beginning of January. I'll give you that mulligan because at least you produced a decent show. Starting next week, you better up that ante, kid. Because there ain't going to be no more mulligans. I told you, in every brand, there's no mulligans in 2020. That's done. I left that behind in 2019. Guys, make sure you catch the AEW review again in the last 20 seconds of this video, which is fastly approaching. It'll be in one of these corners. Click on that. That'll take you to earlier this morning's AEW review, where we went over a half an hour discussing AEW. And that, which you just witnessed now, was NXT. Again, not that much to talk about. I probably still went over 20 minutes on it, but that's just me, man. When you got me talking pro wrestling, I can keep rocking. But all in all, we need better from NXT, absolutely. But it wasn't a bad show by any stretch. And man, I just wish all these companies would kind of chill on the six-man action. AEW's already announcing more six-man tags for next week, and it never ends. And I can't get behind it. There's no passion, there's no excitement behind it. And it just, man, it just ruins the vibe for me. Tomorrow, guys, obviously the podcast, and obviously Saturday we have SmackDown's review and reaction. So a lot more content is coming up on the channel. Make sure you're subscribed and notified always. For now, enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Thank you, honestly, for spending a big part of your day with me through 2 different videos. It means a lot, and I really hope you guys enjoyed the content. For now, the Amplified Man and his unit rocking out. Yow. Check you later.